Hello book lovers, and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. Today I am here to start my second weekly reading vlog for my Christmas bingo board. If you guys have not watched the first vlog, I will go ahead and link that. I think it'll be up here up above, and you can go ahead and check out the first 3 books that I cleared from my bingo board. If you don't want to be spoiled for what books I read, go ahead and head over there right now, because I'm about to show what my bingo board is currently looking like. That being said, let me scooch over a little bit. This is what the bingo board is looking like. As you can tell, we're not really close to any bingos. I mean, we technically are, but that iRobot is sitting there at a low priority, so we are not going to be reading that this week. However, I am hoping to go ahead and read The Road Home as well as Obsidian Feathers. I have not done any reading yet today. It is a little past noon. I have spent this morning doing all of my usual Sunday chores, and I'm just about done with all of them. So hopefully I get a little bit of reading done, but I do still have a few things that I need to do. But I just wanted to go ahead and get this vlog started and let you know which books I'm hoping to start. I will be getting my KU subscription up and running, and I will be starting with The Road Home by Christina Berry. So this is a contemporary romance. It is featuring Indigenous characters and is also written by an Indigenous author. So in this book, we are following, I don't know if it gives any names. I don't really see his name, but he is the frontman of a rock band in Austin. Life is going pretty good for him, but one day his best friend gets into a really bad car accident. It does seem his best friend survives the accident, but it brings up a lot of old feelings about our character losing his family to a drunk driver many years ago, and he decides to find solace in a woman who does roller derby and kind of like falls into bed with her, but then it seems like he starts to develop feelings for her. Around this time, they also get the opportunity to go on to tour, and this tour includes a stop in the Cherokee Nation reservation where he used to live. It seems he hasn't really been back since he lost his family, and so he just has a lot of stuff to work through, especially if he wants to be the kind of person who can love and live with this woman he is falling in love with. So I'm hoping that it's a good time. I don't think I've ever read a rock and roll romance, to be honest, none that I can remember. I'm not huge into like musicians. I don't follow a lot of musicians or fangirl over them or anything like that. So it's never like a trope that's overly attracted me, but you know, I'm sure it'll be a good time, and having our female main character be a roller derby girl sounds really cool as well. So I'm excited to get started on that. I'm looking here, it looks like it's 330 pages, so a little longer than the books that I was reading last week. But I will say the last book that I was just reading, The Providence Girls, was a relatively slow paced book, and I'm hoping that this book maybe will be a little bit faster paced, with it being kind of that traditional contemporary romance style. So hopefully it doesn't take me too long to get through it. So that is what I'm gonna go ahead and start off with. I'm not gonna start reading probably, honestly, for like a few hours because I need to do a lot of editing today. I'm gonna go ahead and sit down for an hour and start editing my challenge cup video. I did luckily yesterday do a lot of the graphics that need to be done with it, so I don't have to worry about that. But it is still a relatively long video, so I'm probably gonna spend an hour doing that, and then I have some laundry and some grocery shopping that I need to do because I'm cooking dinner tonight. I'm hoping to make this kind of dumpling soup, but I'm using gyoza, pork and vegetable gyoza that I just bought the other day. So I just have a couple things that I need to buy for that, and hopefully that'll be a good yet relatively easy dinner for me to make. But other than that, I don't have too much going on, but since I do want to prioritize, and it would be great if I could finish editing my challenge cup video, I do think that'll take a good chunk of my day because we have about an hour and 40 minutes of clips to get through. So I wouldn't be surprised if it took like 3 or so hours for me to like really finish that up. But that is the introduction to this vlog. Oh, and I almost forgot. If you watched last week's vlog, then you know that I was doing my little Funko Pop advent calendar, and that I was calling them Fugly Funko Pops because they are definitely, well, they definitely don't look like this, okay? So it's a little bit of false advertising. If you ever see this on your Instagram, you know, advertising to you, do not buy it. It is not worth the money, but at this time it is almost fun to see what kind of little creature I pull from here. But today is the 8th, so let's go ahead and pull this out and see what we get. All right, the light is like really shining on there, so I apologize. All right, what is this? That looks very rotund. And these are always just like so hard to get out. They are just getting lazier and lazier. You can tell primarily with the paint job. They didn't even paint his face. So I think this is supposed to be the guy who has like an axe in his head. Oh my gosh. They literally didn't paint his eyes or his scars or his mouth or anything. Wow. This was definitely made in China. Oh no, it was made in Vietnam. Vietnam! So that is what you can expect from these Fugly Funko Pops. A very disappointing purchase, but I am trying to make the most of it and just laugh about it because luckily it wasn't too much money that I wasted on it. I want to say it was under $30, so you know, I'm not going to shed any tears over it, but it's just like, how can you just bamboozle your customers like that? But anyway, that is the beginning of this vlog, and I probably won't check in with you until tomorrow. So I'll see you guys then. Hello everyone. I hope that you can't hear the dishwasher going too much, but it is just through that room in the kitchen chugging along doing its job. But I wanted to go ahead and do a little update for today. Today is Monday. I feel like I've been doing so many updates in my room, so here I am, not in my room. I have not done any reading yet today. I am on my 10 a.m. break, so the day for me has just kind of gotten started. I've been working for most of the day, and I'm still doing that thing where if you watched my last week's vlog where I am waking up at 7:30, so I am definitely not having a lot of time in the morning to do any reading, but I am kind of reshuffling my sleep schedule a little bit. But I did end up reading 24 pages yesterday of my book. That is not a lot. I'm not surprised. I had never seemed to do too much reading on the weekend because I'm always busy doing other stuff that I don't have time to do during the week. That's why I always have my fingers crossed that one day us state employees will have 4-day work weeks, because honestly, I feel like having 2 days off is just not enough. If you want to run your errands, if you want to do your chores, if you want to do your hobbies, if you want to spend time with family or friends, if you want to relax, it is just too much stuff to be cramming into like 2 little days. So that extra day I feel like would just really open up my schedule a little bit, because you would have like that one day where you could like really focus on like chores and errands, and then the rest of the weekend could be focused on like hobbies, like in my case my filming and editing, and then you would still have like an extra day where you can maybe relax a little bit, or maybe even travel somewhere, because sometimes I feel like if I want to travel somewhere, my entire weekend is just gone. So, life is a little stressful when you're working like 80% of the time. Anyway, like I said, I am 24 pages into this book, so not very far, but I just kind of wanted to let you know like what the foundation of the story is. I know I gave you kind of a synopsis, but I did get to know a little bit about the dynamics of our characters a little bit. I will say this is the second book in a romance companion series, and while these are always standalones, sometimes you feel like you're supposed to already have like a foundation for the relationships between some of the characters because they were presented in the first book, which I did not read. So I feel like there's some things where I'm like, I feel like I should know like their relationship, but I don't. And so that left me like just a little bit floundering, but I'm sure that eventually as I get further into the book that will become less relevant. But for now we are following Jake. He is our lead singer of this band of 3 guys. He seems to be feeling a little bit off, like he feels like he's missing some, I don't know, music terms like key changes, or I don't know. He just feels like he's not singing the right notes and not making the right transitions and not quite on beat. So he's feeling a little bit funky. And at the beginning of this book, he is at the club, or not at the club, he's like at a bar, and he and his friends have just gone ahead and done a set, and they're drinking some whiskey that some of the patrons have purchased for them, kind of as a, hey, good job on the set. And he kind of mentions that he needs to head in early for the night because he has to teach some music lessons. So it seems that he's kind of part-time band member and then part-time music teacher. But this woman approaches him, and it seems like she is his ex, and they have kind of a not great relationship. Like the two of them used to be kind of friends, and then kind of friends with benefits, and then they try to be more, and it turns out that they are just not compatible. And he kind of seems not to want anything to do with her, but he kind of just keeps falling into bed with her. So that kind of is how the story starts. And then the morning after, he wakes up to a phone call from his friend Gary, I'm pretty sure. And Gary is like, hey, Ari, which is Jake's best friend and Gary's wife, was hit by a car, and I'm kind of at the hospital, and I'm kind of freaking out because my wife was hit by a car. And our character is freaking out as well because Ari means a lot to him, and at the same time he also lost his family to a drunk driver many years ago. At this point, I'm still not sure exactly who he lost. He mentioned a mother, so I know for sure he lost his mother, but I'm not really sure if he had like dad or siblings or anything like that that he also lost. But either way, he's kind of like hyperventilating. He's getting to the hospital. He's kind of like, what's going on? Gary's like, I don't really know. All I know is that she's in surgery and I can't get in touch with Alex. I don't have his number, and I keep forgetting her name. It's like Shelly or Shirley, who is Ari's friend. And Alex, this is where things get a little bit messy, is Ari's boyfriend. So essentially it seems that Ari and Gary decided to open up their relationship a few months ago. Jake was like, don't do that because that's really dumb. And now Ari has kind of fallen in love with this guy named Alex. And it seems like Ari and Gary are heading towards a divorce. But despite that, Gary still really cares for her. And obviously, since she's going through this traumatic event, he's like, I really want Alex to be here so that when she wakes up, this guy that she loves is here along with the rest of us and her best friend, and all that jazz. And Jake is like, okay, I think I know how to get their number, because Nicole seems to be kind of the head of the roller derby team, which Shirley is a part of, and more messily, she is Alex's ex-girlfriend, as in Alex left Nicole for Ari. So he's like, this is not going to be a great call. She's not going to be happy to hear from me. But he has her number because she had booked their band for a gig. So he had their number for that kind of like little professional exchange. And he's nervous about it because she's kind of known for being a bitch. He felt like, you know, she was professional and he enjoyed working with her, and he was also kind of like attracted to her, but he also knows that she can be a little bit hard to get along with, and, you know, has a little bit of a temper. So when he does call her, things don't go great. Nicole is the love interest in this book per the synopsis, and we don't have the greatest introduction to her. I'm not exactly standing in her corner. I'm not exactly team Nicole right now because, you know, I get it. It probably sucks when your man leaves you for another woman, but clearly he just wasn't that into you, and maybe I'm not being empathetic enough as someone who's never been in a relationship and who's never, you know, been left. But when someone calls you and says, hey, so-and-so got into a car accident, like they got hit by a car, and they're in surgery and we need the number of the people they care about, I don't know, is it the time to be a bitch? Maybe save that for like later. But anyway, she does end up giving him their numbers, and it seems like it's gonna be a very soap opera-y, messy dynamic between these four, because Jake was talking a lot about how he was Ari's best friend, and now this Shelly Shirley person was coming in as a good friend, and Gary was Ari's husband and they were in love, but now there's Alex. So he's talking a lot about the old guard and the new guard and how he wants to still be part of Ari's life because he really loves her, but at the same time he's very conflicted about the fact that can Gary still be part of her life, because he doesn't want to leave Gary behind because Gary is a best friend of his. So it just seems like that whole dynamic is gonna be messy. And I'll be interested to see how it turns out. One thing I will say is that I'm really hoping that we don't spend too much time on like a cat fight situation between Nicole and Ari, because Alex, you know, decided to end his relationship with her to be with Ari. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here for the woman on woman hate situation, which is definitely what we were getting a hint at with that one conversation. So I'm hoping, you know, we kind of move on from that relatively quickly. But yeah, that being said, that's kind of where we're at right now, where they just left the hospital. Ari woke up. She's really banged up, but it seems like she is going to be fine. So he and Gary are gonna go head out and get drunk, because that was a really awkward situation for them to be at the hospital with Gary's wife and her boyfriend, who she's probably gonna leave her husband for. So yes, that is where we're at. I'm not really sure how Nicole and Jake are gonna kind of like get together or anything like that. Per the synopsis, I guess the two of them kind of just decide to sleep together and then decide, you know, that they like that and want to keep doing that, and it turns into more. But I haven't gotten to that part yet because, like I said, 24 whopping pages so far, but a lot of drama has already unfolded, and so far I'm enjoying the writing. I mean, it's nothing special, but it's also not terrible, so that is good. Jake seems like he's gonna be a relatively interesting character. I'm not like in love with him so far. He seems to be in a bit of a slump where he's just kind of going with the flow, yet not really liking where the flow is taking him. So I'm hoping he kind of grabs his life by the balls a little bit more and takes control, and hopefully Nicole will help him with that, because she definitely seems like the kind of woman who's gonna get what she wants. And she really seems like a strong-headed woman, and she might take his slightly wimpy personality. I don't want to say he's wimpy, but he does seem, I don't know, a little lame-ish, just a little lame-ish right now. So hopefully she kind of bucks him up a little bit with her own spicy personality. So that is my initial thoughts on the book. I'm not sure how much reading I will get done today because I did not finish editing my challenge cut video because it is long. I think I must have been around 3 hours editing it yesterday, and I am not done. Nope, I will probably need like at least another hour or so to edit that. So I'm hoping to go ahead and finish that today, since today I don't have like the gym or anything. I do want to go ahead and shower, so that'll take some time as well. But we'll see. I'll definitely try to get in a few pages. Hopefully get a little bit of reading done before I hit the hay tonight. But since I don't think I'll check in with you later today, we're gonna do our Fugly Funko real quick. My 15-minute timer for my break is probably gonna go ahead and pop off any second now, so we're gonna speed race through this because I got a phone shift to get to. All right. Oh, it looks like we got our professor from The Nightmare Before Christmas. These are so ugly. And I mean, this guy is naturally ugly, like even in the movie. He's like, you know, that professor that kind of looks like a duck and he's in a wheelchair and stuff. But look at this. Look at... He's supposed to have kind of like a duck face, but clearly they didn't do that. I mean, at least they like opened his skull so you can see his brain. And it kind of looks like he's in a wheelchair. It's like a little wooden cart. All right, so my timer just went off. So here is the Fugly Funko of the day. Once again, low quality. But I will go ahead and check in with you most likely tomorrow. All right, so I just got out of the shower, hence why we got this going on, but I finally got around to trying on a couple things that I bought from Halara, because I bought a few things for them a little while ago, but one of the pair of pants ended up being too small for me. But they kind of had this exchange policy where you can keep what you bought but get a gift card for that amount. So I decided to go ahead and keep those pants. I ended up giving them to my sister, so that worked out really well. But since I had a gift card from there and you have to use it within, I don't know, you have plenty of time, but I just wanted to use it because I knew I would forget about it if I didn't. And so I decided to buy myself a new top because I love me just a plain black top. And then I also bought myself some new pants. So I just wanted to show this off. It is not sponsored. I'm not suddenly sponsored by Halara, but I do follow Jane Agaton, who is often sponsored by them, hence why I started buying stuff from them. But so far I really like their material because I'm really picky about material, which I think I already mentioned in this vlog, but their material works really well for me. So we just have like this kind of cropped top with like these like poofier sleeves, so it kind of looks, you know, a little bit fitted, which gives it kind of like a more attractive shape. I would say this looks almost like it is a little bit big for me. It is a size medium, but honestly I would rather have it be too big than too small. And I'm not wearing a bra with this, so obviously this chest area is gonna look a little bit different when I actually have the girls up. But if you look at the back, you know, it's like really cute and open, which is probably honestly why I wouldn't wear it with a bra, because I don't have any fancy little lace bras that would look good with like the back showing. So either I get one of those or I just wear it without a bra. But then the pants, so those are the pants. I really like the brown color. You know, I feel like it goes well with like plenty of different colors of tops. Pocket wise, it is kind of weird because it's almost like the pockets go like this way, and there's not really like any pockets here, but you do have these side pockets here, and I think it just like fits really well. For their pants, I'm a size large. I bought my other pants in a size medium, and I kept a couple of them because they're more like the stretchy legging kind of situation, and those fit, but I do feel like they're a little bit on the short side. So I think with Halara, I am a size large with pants, and I think pants wise, I'm kind of between a 10 and a 12 depending on like what company we're in, because God forbid every company follow the same size charts. But I just wanted to go ahead and show this off because I finally tried it on, because it takes me, you know, 5 to 7 business days to actually get around to trying on clothes once they're sent or gifted to me. So ta-da! Yes, I am very happy with this outfit, and I will definitely go ahead and wear it around. I also feel like these pants are a little bit thinner, so they might be a little bit more comfortable to wear around summertime, because right now some of the pants that I have are definitely more fall winter pants, and boy was I sweating in those when I was wearing them in the summertime. So just wanted to go ahead and do this little shopping haul, because apparently that is just what I keep doing, haul after haul in this vlog. And I'm gonna go ahead and sit down and hopefully do some reading, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Look at this cat blocking all the heat from the vent. Are you cold? I know. That's what happens when you leave a man in charge of the home thermostat. Yeah, too cold. You should go to my bathroom. Heated vent and heated floor. Oh, look at that fluffy belly. Yeah, I love you. Oh, big stretch. Big stretch. My little land seal. All right, everyone. I just got back from the gym. It is Tuesday night. It is update time. I am 35% through this book, page 99. And I feel like I have some conflicting feelings about this book. Not like I'm considering DNFing it, kind of. Let me scooch over so you can see the book. It's kind of hard. I feel like this is my first contemporary romance that I have really read since I kind of was like in my contemporary romance slump, where I just wasn't feeling any of the contemporary romances that I was reading. All of those were traditionally published, so I was kind of hoping with this one being indie published that wouldn't be the case. But, you know, all of those were also heterosexual romances, and this is a heterosexual romance as well. So maybe those male-female dynamics are just not working for me in like a romance setting. I am still struggling a little bit with Nicole. She kind of opened up about some trauma from her past, but she did it more kind of to shut our character up than because she like really wants to be open with him or anything. So I understand why she can be a little bit defensive and a little bit reluctant to have like a real relationship, anything beyond just like a fuck buddies kind of situation. But at the same time, I can't help but wonder like what attracts him to her. It's clear that he really loves her confidence, her strength, but at the same time, some of her behavior is a little bit off-putting, and it seems to kind of like piss him off, but he keeps coming back for more. And I feel like some of her behavior is slightly immature in a way, because she will kind of like reject him in a way if he asks for too much, which is totally fine, like you can do that. But then in the next second, if like another girl like dares to look at him, like she gets really jealous. That kind of seems to be her thing, where she likes to be jealous, and you know, it's kind of like almost like foreplay to her, which isn't like 100% my thing. On the other hand, 100 pages into the book, we have kind of just gotten to the tour portion of the story, and I kind of got it mixed up. I thought that his band was going on tour, but actually there is a Irish band, I think it is a heavy metal band called Mammoth. Are they a real band? I'm not really sure. I'm not into heavy metal. But essentially they were touring in America, but their guitarist needs to head home early because his wife is having some complications during her pregnancy, and so he really wants to be there with her. And they kind of heard about our character Jake and were like, hey, why don't you come to our studio here in Austin and we can kind of, you know, jam together and see if it works. And if so, we still have 3 weeks of touring in America and we would love it if you joined. And they end up jamming together. It goes well. They're like, yep, we're going to go ahead and tour together. He loves Mammoth. He's like, oh my God, you know, this is like a dream come true for him. And the first person he wants to call is Nicole, like above his friends and everything, because he's like really been drawn to Nicole, and he kind of calls her and she doesn't really react in a good way because he's like, hey, you know, I'm gonna be playing in this band and you can sit in the VIP section, you can come and see me. And she's like, I can't, I have practice. And he's like, it's not till like 11 o'clock at night, it's like really late. And she's like, oh, that's past my bedtime. And he's like, I would just really like you to be there. And she's like, why would you want me to be there? And you know, it was just like like, I get it, you have like all these walls up, but I just feel like if you have spent some time with this guy, you've had like some fun together, he's come to your roller derby game and supported you, that when he calls you to be like, this once in a lifetime thing is happening and I want you to be there, get your shit together and respond accordingly. Like that was like so off-putting that if I were him, honestly, I would have dropped her then. But at the same time, a lot of the people that really seem to know her are like, you need to give her time and you need to kind of go at her pace and you can't push her too much and she'll probably try to pull away. But you know, if you really want to be with her, you need to give her that opportunity to step back and come back. I mean, it doesn't seem like she's had the best luck with relationships. The only person she's really been with is this Alex guy who then like left her. Like I said, she has some trauma from her past that revolves around, I don't really want to say like relationships, but just like men in general. So part of me understands her behavior. Part of me is just kind of like annoyed with it, but hopefully she loosens up a little bit. We'll see. But it does seem like about 30% into the book here, the plot is really starting to get rolling here. I'm not sure if she's going to join him on the tour because he's going to be touring America, so he's not going to be in Austin anymore with her. So hopefully she kind of maybe comes along with him or something. But either way, part of me is enjoying it, part of me's not really enjoying it. So far for me, I feel like there's also been like too much sex considering we're still in the first third of the book. I wouldn't say any of the smut scenes are overly detailed, but at the same time they kind of are, kind of not. I don't know, it's a little bit too much for me that we really seem to be kind of in this lust fueled stage of the relationship still, so it's equally too fast yet too slow for me. It's kind of a weird vibe. I mean, I really make it sound like I'm not having a good time with this book at all. I feel like I'm really enjoying the surrounding cast, the supporting cast of our characters more than like our love interest or leading lady and our leading man. I'm really enjoying Ari. Weird stuff seems to be going on with Gary. I'm a little worried about him right now, to be honest. So that's the guy that Ari's soon-to-be ex-husband. Alex, things are going really well. Shirley, whatever her name is, I feel like I should remember it by now. All of them are really chill. At this point, they all know that he's kind of into Nicole and they're all cool with it. Alex is really supportive of it. He wants what's best for Nicole. He acknowledges that the last time she got hurt, it's his fault. And he really would like her not to get hurt again. And Ari is totally cool with him bringing Nicole into their life. She's, you know, seems to be kind of like positive about it. So we'll see how that goes. So luckily our character kind of has like the support system around him, kind of helping him as he fights against Nicole's spiky personality. But yes, that is where we are right now. I will also say this book is kind of, I don't want to say it's like a BDSM book, but it's clear that Nicole seems to be a little bit into pain play. So I'll be interested to see how much the author dives into that aspect of their sex life. Like I said, I haven't read the first book because it kind of mentioned that there were some other characters that were taking part in BDSM. So it seems maybe to be a common thread throughout the story. But yes, thoughts for now, not much else to say because not too much else has happened, but we're chugging along. For some reason, I always have this delusion that I'm the kind of person who reads 100 pages a day. So when I see that I'm reading a book that is like 350 pages, I'm like, oh, it'll take me like 3 or 4 days. And then I proceed to like read less than 50 pages a day. So, you know, reality check. But at the same time, I think we're making a relatively decent progress now that we're actually in the week. Weekends are just a bad representation of my reading because I just don't be reading on the weekends. But I'm gonna go ahead and shower, eat, and I don't know what my plans are for the rest of the night, if I'm gonna hide away in my room and read or if we're gonna watch, because we're still watching The Dome, and this is like, the show is kind of bad and kind of ridiculous, but at the same time, it keeps hooking me. And I'm like, but what happens next? And I know it gets canceled after like 3 seasons, so maybe we will like literally never know what happens. But I don't know. It's just one of those shows where you're like, I just need to watch one more episode to see what happens. And so that has been interfering with my reading a little bit, but we'll see what I do. And I will go ahead and check in with you tomorrow. Hello, everyone. I am back. It is still Tuesday night. I am back for 2 reasons. The first one being, I realized we didn't pick up our Fugly Funko of the day. So let's start with that. I keep forgetting these ugly little guys. So apologies. So today is in fact the 10th. It's the one I've been waiting for. Oh my god. He looks really creepy and his nose is the wrong color. It's the little ghost dog. I mean, at least they put his little ears and he's got the little ghost body going on, but isn't his nose red? What is his name? I can't remember what his little name is. But here he is. If his nose was red, he would actually be kind of cute. I mean, his smile's a little bit clownish, like an evil clown. But, you know, he's a little bit on the cuter side. So that's not too bad. This is one that I saw and was like one of the reasons that I got this, because I really wanted him. Not perfect, but compared to some of the other ones we've gotten, better. All right, the other thing is, I think last week I mentioned that I got some Aardvark books. So this is a book box subscription. I'm not sure if it's something that you have to get every month. I'm hoping not, because I don't really like to do that, but they are similar to a book of the month. I think book of the month might be $15.99 and these books are $17.99, but you can also do 2 add-ons for $9.99, and that is what I decided to do. Every month they put out some new releases in hardback. The thing I like about these ones is I feel like their choices are a little bit more diverse than the book of the month ones, and I've seen specifically Jane Agaton getting their books frequently, and so I decided to go ahead and check them out here for the month of December. I chose a December book and then did 2 add-ons. So we have 3 books in here. So let's go ahead and open her up. Let me see, where do I open this? Let's see how this is set up. Okay, so I think I need my scissors here. All right, and then kind of, ta-da! So here we are. We have our 3 books, all hardback. So that is nice. And then they always come with these little aardvark bookmarks. So I now have 3 of these. And let's go ahead and look at the books that I got. So for the December pick, I went ahead and went with The Resurrectionist, and this is by A. Ray Dunlap. I hope I say that correctly. I just really thought that this cover stood out a lot to me. So this is a historical story. It said it has some queer themes in it, but I'm not really sure how. But essentially we seem to be following James, and he has gone ahead to pursue the study of surgery in Edinburgh, and he strikes up a deal with Nye, who is able to get him some cadavers, because as a surgeon he needs cadavers to go ahead and practice. But then he starts to realize that Nye is not getting these legally, but that he is in fact a body snatcher. So he is stealing bodies from the morgues and maybe the graveyards and stuff like that. And then our character kind of finds himself entangled in that life. He and Nye seem to kind of be teaming up because he's now in it to win it, I guess, and there is some competition that is more than happy to kill the competition. So stakes are high. So I'm definitely intrigued. For some reason, when I first read this, I was kind of hoping it would give me similar vibes to Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. We kind of have that historical, dreary, grimy setting, and we have, you know, some people that are really interested in mysteries and science and bodies and all that jazz, threat of murder. And so I was kind of hoping that this would maybe be like a more adult version of that. So I picked it up. Up next, I got a book that I've heard essentially like nothing but good things about, and I'm really intrigued to check out, and that is The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monica Kim. This book has definitely been making the rounds in the booktube world, and it sounds very interesting, especially as I kind of gain more interest in the horror genre. I do think that this is more like a slower paced horror, possibly more psychological leaning than anything else. A lot of people say that it's really well written and that they really enjoy it, despite apparently it doesn't have like the most unexpected twists or anything. This isn't like a thriller where you have no idea where it's going, but I have a feeling that I will enjoy the ride all the same. We are essentially following a young woman who is Korean. Yeah, the author is Korean, so I'm assuming that the characters are Korean as well. So we're following a young Korean woman whose father one day up and leaves, and her mother is not taking it well at all, and she kind of keeps telling her daughters to eat the eyes of the fish because it's good luck and all that jazz, and our character's like, that's gross, I don't want to eat the eyes. But then one day her mother starts dating this white guy who's clearly like fetishizing her, and he's just a creep, and our character does not like him at all. But she starts to become really obsessed with eyes, specifically his eyes, and not in a good way. So I will be interested to read this story, hopefully soonish, just because I know it is such a popular book and I want to jump on the bandwagon. I don't always read super popular and known books, but this is definitely one that I am hoping is worth the hype. And then finally, for my third book, I kind of went back and forth between this book and another book, but I decided to pick this one up because I have read something from this author in the past and really enjoyed it. I am nervous because I've heard mixed things about this book, but I also heard mixed things about the other book. So it's just like, you know what? We will give this a try, and fingers crossed we like it. And that is going to be Evocation by S.T. Gibson. So I have read A Dowry of Blood by this author. I feel like everyone loved A Dowry of Blood, or at least 90% of people enjoyed A Dowry of Blood, but this book is definitely getting more mixed reviews. I would say An Education in Malice was getting like only negative reviews, and then this one is getting like a lot of negative, but also quite a few positive reviews. So S.T. Gibson might have just like peaked, might have just had like beginner's luck or something with A Dowry of Blood, because her books don't seem to be doing as well. But this one, I believe, is once again a polyamorous story. It sounds like we are following a young man who feels that he is become possessed by something, and so he needs to seek help from his ex-boyfriend, and his ex-boyfriend is now married to a woman, and the three of them kind of try to figure this whole possession thing out while also trying to figure out their relationship. From what I hear, it doesn't seem to be a polyamorous relationship in that all three of them are together. It kind of seems like he would get back together with his ex-boyfriend, and then his ex-boyfriend would still be with his wife, because from what I heard, he doesn't really have like a romantic relationship with the wife. So we'll see how that works out. I haven't read that dynamic as much as I have read, you know, the we're all in love with each other kind of dynamic. But I also heard that sometimes it focuses a little bit too much on the romance instead of like the plot, which sometimes, especially if the plot is like really interesting, I'm like, okay, it's cool that you guys are all getting along, but this guy may be possessed, so let's focus on that. So I'm really curious to see how this is going to go, and hopefully I am one of those people who enjoy it. And in case you were wondering, the other book that I was thinking about was American Rapture by S.C. Lees, as L something Lees. I don't remember what it was, but that was another horror story that I was just like, I think I want to read it, but I think I'm going to get it from the library because I've never read that author before, and I'm a little bit intimidated by it because I've heard not so good things about it. The author wrote Mayfly, which I also haven't read. So they're definitely an author that I'm interested in checking out, but I decided not to do it this time. So these are the 3 books that I have added to my collection, and I am very excited to have them. I really like the feel of these books. They have a nice texture to them, and they just seem like really nice quality. So I'm sure that I will definitely use Aardvark books in the future as well. I was kind of thinking that I would maybe try like every 3 months or so. That way I will choose one of the books of the month, and then I can get like past titles for the last 2 months as extras for only $10. So that was kind of the plan of what I figured I would go ahead and do with this. But yes, I just wanted to go ahead and check in with you guys again because I realized I had that box and that I didn't do my little Funko people. And now I will read a little bit before I hit the hay. I always hate doing updates here because the lighting is so ugly from this lamp, but I'm comfortable. So I'm gonna stay here. So it is a little past 9 o'clock. I'm about to start getting ready for bed and hitting the hay. I have been taking 5 milligrams of melatonin every night for the last few nights, and it has definitely helped me fall asleep faster. So I usually take it around 9, so I'll probably take it as soon as I finish this update, and then I get ready, and I usually go to bed a little after 9:30, and I feel like I fall asleep really quickly, like within a few minutes, which is awesome because usually I'm the kind of person who takes like half an hour to fall asleep. So that's fun. But I wanted to go ahead and do an update on my book. So I have officially reached page 200. That was my goal for the day, to read about 100 pages today, and I'm very proud of myself for doing so. And so I'm 71% through this book. I thought it was 350 pages, but it seems like it's more like 280. So I'm really hoping to finish it tomorrow, and I am enjoying it a lot more than I was last time that I updated you. So I think last time when I updated you, he was about to head off on his tour and everything. This lighting really is awful. It just makes like everything look really hazy, like there's smoke in my room. There's not. That I'm not being smoked out here, guys, I swear. It just looks really hazy, but whatever. So he was heading off on tour and everything. I was surprised that while he was on tour, Nicole didn't go with him. So he was gone for, I think it was like 3 weeks, and he was just kind of touring up the East Coast with Mammoth, and he and Nicole were texting a lot and calling every night, and they were really connecting and really opening up to each other. So that was really great to read. I definitely like her a lot more I definitely like her a lot more now that she's kind of trimmed some of her thorns, I guess you could say. So yeah, glad that I'm enjoying her more. I really did enjoy the tour scene, especially when he decided to take the band to his hometown, the Cherokee Reservation. He has not been back there for like 20 years since his family passed away, and there was a couple scenes during that visit that made me tear up, like the scene where he visited his family's graves for the first time, and he was kind of reunited with an uncle who had kind of disappeared out of his life after the accident, because this uncle was the brother of our character's father, and they were twins, and I guess he just couldn't really handle the fact that his brother had died, and he was just going through some stuff and didn't feel like he would be good in Jake's life, and so he kind of disappeared, and Jake was obviously kind of angry about that, but they had like this heart-to-heart moment that was really great and really moving. And yeah, no, there was just like a few moments that like made me tear up, especially when he was thinking about like his little brother, because it was his mom, his dad, and his little brother who ended up dying that night. And his little brother had only been like 8 years old and was like his little shadow, and he was like talking about that and how there had been so many things that as a big brother he wanted to do for him and to teach him, and all these firsts that he wanted to experience with his little brother, like teaching his brother how to like flirt and giving him his first beer and all that stuff, and how, you know, he won't have those experiences with him, and his brother will never experience any of those things because he died so young. And I was just reading that and I was like, man, I I don't think even the worst written book could have me not tearing up when a big brother is mourning the loss of his little brother. That's always a tough topic to learn about. So I really enjoyed those scenes. I think that kind of confronting that past was really well done by the author, so kudos to her for that. At this point, actually, the tour is over. So he is back home now. He's ready to kind of see where he and Nicole go. He's like, we've made a lot of progress in our relationship through phone calls, but how are we going to work like in person? Are things gonna work out? There's also some changes in his life that are happening that could definitely impact their relationship. And as far as his relationship with, is it Greg? Greg. I feel like I keep wanting to call him Gary, but I think his name is Greg. His best friend since childhood. Things are rough because Greg is not handling the divorce at all. There's like a scene between the two of them where it's very clear that he has hit rock bottom. So that it's gonna be a bit of a messy situation. We'll see if their friendship can be salvaged, because yeah, no, that was messy. That was not good at all. So we'll see what happens. So while things are going great with him and Ari, and he seems to be getting along with Alex, Ari's, you know, current boyfriend, Greg is not doing good at all. So poor Greg, but he was kind of being an a-hole, so I don't know. I don't have too much sympathy for him right now. But yes, no, I'm continuing to enjoy the story. Really happy with the direction of the story and our character development that we're experiencing. And I'm interested to see what happens here in the last 80 or so pages. And I'm already kind of trying to figure out if I want to read any more of this series, because I think there's 4 books. I don't think I want to read the first book because this is the second book in the series. The first book apparently was following Ari and Alex. So I think this is one of those series where we kind of like, almost like the timelines overlap, you know, where you're reading one book and some characters doing something over on the other side, and then you get their story and you get to figure out what they were doing over there. That kind of situation. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of what's happening, because, you know, obviously in the first book, if Ari and Alex's relationship is what's being explored, then, you know, in this book, they are just now kind of for the first time moving in together and kind of taking their relationship to that next level and kind of considering marriage and stuff. And I don't know if all that is handled in the first book or what, I don't know. But considering I kind of already know their relationship through this story, I don't really feel the need to read it more. And then I kind of tried to look at what the other books were about, but I was also kind of nervous that it would spoil me for this book, considering they're so interconnected. So I might take a closer look at them, but I was kind of trying to scan for recognizable names and I couldn't find any. So I was like, I don't know who these characters are. But the synopsis, even of this book, doesn't really seem to do a good job of giving the names of the character in the book. So I'll just have to dive into that a little bit more to see if maybe this is the only book I want to read, or if I want to read any of the other books. Because honestly, right now, if, for example, like Gary got a book, I feel like unless he really gets down and grovels and redeems himself in this book, like I don't give a bleep about his second chance at romance, to be honest, because the stunt he pulled in this book, honestly, kind of unforgivable. So yeah, we'll see. I'll know better by the time I finish this book, and maybe dive a little deeper into the synopsis of book 3 and 4 if I want to continue the series. I definitely could see myself reading this author again. I think I like her writing and the characters that she develops, and of course her being an Indigenous author, it would be good for me to go ahead and throw her into my rotation. But that is my update for now. We're gonna go ahead and do Funko Pop, or as we have been calling them, Fugly Funkos. So let me see if I can do this with one hand. Today is December 11th. We're doing our best. Okay, that looks like a vampire. I see some slick back slicked back black hair. There we go. I am fighting for my life to get him. All right. Oh, nope. It's not a vampire. I think this is like one of the little toys that they make that like ends up chasing the children, isn't it? I think so. My camera skills are phenomenal. All right, here he is. Don't you want this under your tree on Christmas morning? All right. Well, that is the Fugly Funko of the day, and that is my update. Hopefully next time I'm updating you, I am telling you my final thoughts on this book and which book I am picking up next. Again, apologies for my camera. I am holding you and like my pinky is supporting you and it's fighting for its life right now. But I know that I said I would pick up Obsidian Feather next. Right? Obsidian Feathers, is that what it was called? Obsidian Flowers? I can't even remember. But we will see. We will see. I don't know. I've been going kind of back and forth on if I want to pick that up or if I want to pick up a physical book, just because I'm kind of craving reading a physical book and like feeling actual like paper in my hands. So we'll see how I'm feeling once I finish this book. But I will bid you good night and I will talk to you tomorrow. Hello everyone, it is Thursday afternoon. My lunch break just started and I have a reading update. I'm gonna actually like tilt this just a little so that we have room for my images. I have finished The Road Home, and the reason I have finished the last 80 pages by 1 o'clock today, despite having read barely anything today, or I have read a lot today, but I was reading it at 3 o'clock in the morning, and not because this book is just so amazing that I was up here awake on a work day, but because I could not sleep. I love how yesterday I was bragging to my parents, and I think I was bragging to you guys too, about how well the melatonin was working, and then I proceeded to like not sleep at all. I would be surprised if I got maybe 3 hours of sleep yesterday, and right now I'm feeling fine. I feel like usually it takes a while for my body to like really get hit with the sleepiness, and also I drank some of the tea that I drink to get energy, because I don't drink energy drinks and I don't drink coffee. I'm usually just out here getting energy from sleep, and so when I don't, it's a little bit rough. So yeah, I was up last night. I was scrolling on my phone, you know, after tossing and turning for hours, and then I was like, well, this is dumb. You know, scrolling on my phone is obviously not gonna help the situation at all. So I decided to go ahead and do a little bit of reading, and I think I read almost 60 or so pages, 60-70 pages, and like I said, there was only 280 pages, and so I just finished off those last 10-15 pages between phone calls at work. And I have gone ahead and finished this book, and I'm feeling very conflicted about it. Very conflicted. I think last time I checked in with you, I said I was enjoying it more. I really did enjoy the tour portion, but that kind of comes to an end at around page 200. So the last 80 pages revolve around, I don't really know if this is spoilery. I feel like it's a spoiler slash trigger warning, because this is something people don't like in their romances very often. It's personally something that I don't love to see, especially like when it becomes a big part of the story like this did. It's not like just the epilogue, and that is pregnancy. Yep. So this book had a pretty big storyline around this couple getting pregnant, which I just want to point out, they've known each other for like what, 6 weeks about, and for 3 of those weeks he was not in the same state as her. He was kind of off touring. So I would say that this book feels like it's just a very fast-paced relationship. And I know that this happens in real life, you know, bing bang boom, you find your person you just know, love at first sight or love at first kiss or something, you know, and it happens real quick. Unexpected pregnancy maybe moves things along a little bit quicker, but it was just a little bit too quick for my taste. I feel like it's a little telling that my favorite part of the story was when these two weren't like physically together. Like they were still communicating and they were starting to open up about each other, get a little bit deeper in their feels and all that jazz. But then I feel like the parts where they were like in the same vicinity just didn't quite hit the same. And I felt like throughout this entire process I kept going between like feeling their joy. I will say the author did a good job of, you know, like expressing how happy our characters were, and then kind of like at the same time being annoyed that this is the direction that the story took. And so it was kind of like, oh, I'm really happy for you guys, but I kind of wish that this wasn't what was making you happy. Just because pregnancy isn't like super duper my thing to read about, I personally will hopefully never be pregnant. Fingers crossed. It's not something that I want to take part in. It's not something I want to be overly involved with my characters. I don't want to know too many details about it or anything like that. It's just not my jam. It's not my preference, you know, personal preference, all that jazz. And then it just felt like everything was moving too quickly. The relationship, the pregnancy, the reunion between him and his friend. I kind of told you a little bit about how they got into a bit of a scuffle, and I was like, dang, he's gonna need to like get down and grovel to be forgiven for what he did. No. It was like literally the next day, and then they were all like, yeah, we're bros, everything's fine. And I was like, is it? Is it fine? I think the final score that I have to give the book is a solid 3-star. I think it's a higher 3-star, but I feel like a 3.5 just feels a little high considering the complaints that I have. I don't foresee myself returning to this series, and I'm not sure if I'll return to the author. I just felt like the pacing of the relationship and just the vibes of the relationship were just a little not quite what I'm looking for. It seemed to have almost like religious undertones. I'm not gonna say that it did, but to me, just a lot of the themes that they were discussing or experiencing with like, oh, we're not gonna smoke anymore, we're not gonna drink anymore, and we're gonna give up living our big bad life to settle down and have a kid. And you know, it was just kind of, I don't know, a little bit of a conservative giving conservative viewpoint. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm just hyper sensitive to it right now with all the abortion issues, that it almost feels a little bit like propaganda for me for an author to just spontaneously provide this miracle baby for our characters to give them that missing piece that they've had. I'm probably overreacting to it, but like I said, I'm a little overly sensitive to it because I'm hearing so much dialogue around how it is a woman's purpose and job, and you know what she should be doing to have kids, and that's the only way women can find joy in life, and blah blah blah, and single women with their cats are unhappy. And this book was just maybe not the book that I should be reading at this time, with all of those like your body my choice kind of stuff. Not that that was at all like happening. Like Nicole was like fully, she wanted this baby, she's like, I want this baby, I want this baby. But I don't know, I think I was just not wanting to see a pregnant person. Like I was like, this is not really what I want to see right now. So yeah, so it was just a little weird. I feel like a 3-star is a good time because there was some good aspects of the story, but it also just wasn't really my cup of tea. So there's that. So if we go ahead and look at the bingo board, I am gonna go ahead and start Obsidian Feather next. I was going back and forth. I was like, honestly, I could really use a queer book after reading all that pregnancy stuff. But then I was like, you know what? No, this is a monster romance. So we're gonna go ahead and give it a try. Don't know how long this book is. I haven't downloaded it yet or anything like that, but hopefully it's not too long. I don't remember it being overly long. But like I said, this is a monster romance. From what I remember, we are following a woman who is engaged to someone she doesn't really love, but her mother wants to live the kind of life that only money can buy, and this guy's really rich, so she's kind of going with it. And then one day her job sends her to, I want to say it's El Salvador. If I'm incorrect, I'll correct it in my next update. She doesn't really seem to want to go there, but when she does go there, she seems to meet, I don't know if it's like a man who can turn into a beast. I'm not really sure if this is kind of like a werewolf vibe or if it's like literally like a beast kind of situation, but either way, she meets that guy there and she decides she kind of wants to stick around instead of heading back to the life she's not super happy with. So I'm hoping this is a good time and doesn't have any pregnancy in it. So fingers crossed. And this has been a really long update, so I'm gonna go ahead and end it and enjoy the rest of my lunch break. Oh wait, just kidding. Let me do this before I forget, because I don't know if I'm gonna check in with you guys later today. The Fugly Funko. So today is the 12th, so let's see who we get. Oh my gosh, this looks like exactly the same one we already got, but a different color. So let me go grab him real quick. All right, so there they are. See, these I think are the Oogie Boogie characters, but they're like literally the same. And I don't know if, I'm trying to think about like in his dance scene when he does like, has all his little lights and everything, if maybe he looks more green than like a burlap sack. But like, how lazy is that they just did like the exact same character? Anyway, well, that was day 12. So yep. All right guys, I am officially logging off for the day. My pillows here. There's 2 of them, but let's take a look because I want them to air out a little bit. This is the company. This is the company. Sorry, my door's open so you can hear my parents and everything. Okay. Okay, I don't think that's gonna work. So let me pull it. Ooh, that's really cold. I mean, it was outside, so it's cold outside. Ugh. This is all the way open. Okay, let me try to like get this. I'm gonna fight for my life to get this thing out of here. Okay. Okay. It's very squishy. Very squishy. So I guess it does smell a little bit. So hopefully having it out for a couple hours before I go to bed, I won't have to smell this all night. But I guess I will let you know tomorrow how my neck and shoulders feel, because they do be hurting today. So I'm very happy that these are finally here, and hopefully I can get a comfortable night's sleep. Good morning, everyone. It is almost 10 o'clock, so we're moving away from the morning, but I am here to do a update because I actually ended up reading quite a bit of my book. So let me scooch-a-rooney because I always have to remember I need my the little mat that I have so that I can roll my chair around on the carpet. You know, it always gets like those indents, so you just kind of like whatever. Anyway, so I read 80 pages of this book last night. I got into the story very quickly, like from the very beginning. I knew that this was gonna be a writing style that was really gonna work for me, that this was gonna be a story that sucked me in, that this was gonna be a character that I was gonna enjoy following, and that has not changed in the 80 pages that I have read. Now I will say after reading 80 pages, I am only 14% into this book, because I think yesterday I was like, I don't know how long this book is, but I don't think it was that long. Let me go ahead and take a look real quick. It is 542 pages on the Kindle, so I was a little bit wrong. This is actually a pretty long book. I must not have checked the page count when I put it on my TBR, because if I did, I probably would have been like, that's a little bit too long for a month where I have 12 books on my TBR. But the good news is I'm getting through it relatively quickly, and now that I'm in it, I don't want to like not read it because I want to know what's going on. I will say there was like a whole page, if not like more than a page, of trigger warnings, just like everything from like the kind of sex that they have, from, you know, the fact that there may be some talk of like past sexual assault, from things like fat phobia, because we are following a plus size character, and racism and all that jazz. And it sounds like it's gonna get pretty kinky, so I'm like, okay, we'll see where this goes. But essentially we are following Sochil. I hope I'm saying her name correctly. I kind of looked it up because the way that it's spelled, I was like, I don't know how to say that. So Sochil seems to be her name, but she goes by Angie. So she has always lived in the US, and when she was 10 years old, there was this young boy, he was like 11, and he asked her to marry him, and she was like, I don't know if we should. I mean, I don't think we have like rings, and we don't have like a priest. And so he like quickly makes like a ring out of like flower stems, and he's like, my brother, who's 12, is gonna be a priest someday. Can he marry us? And she's like, sure, that works. And so his cousin like marries them in this language she can't understand, like it's not quite Spanish or anything. And she's like, I can't understand what you're saying. And he's like, this is the only way I know how to do it. And she's like, okay, let's just get married this way. And then after the wedding, she's just like, peace out, and she never sees him like again. And essentially we know that Sal is from El Salvador, and that he is part of this group of people that are kind of werewolves. I don't really want to say like full-blown werewolves. It seems that rather than turning into a wolf, they almost have something to do with like shadow beasts that could be kind of wolf adjacent. I still need to learn a little bit more about them. We've just gotten little hints of it here and there, but when he was a young boy, he knew that Sochil was his mate, and so he was like, I'm gonna start this ritual, you know, of getting her to be my mate and everything. And she didn't know what was going on because she's not part of that group or anything. And so now that they are older, and it's been, I don't know, like 20 or so years, I think she's about 32 years old, and he's like, okay, I'm ready to like complete our little mating bond by like actually mating and all that stuff, but he has been living in El Salvador and she has been living in America, and her life has dramatically changed because her mother, after her father was deported, her mother decided to remarry a very wealthy white man, and our character has had a very controlled and whitewashed life ever since then. I believe her mother actually has like almost legal guardianship over her even at this age. It's a very like Britney Spears situation. I can't remember the exact words. It was something like, it was like with a C. I'll probably remember it later, but either way, she has like no control over her life. She doesn't have control over where she lives, where she works. At the beginning of this book, her boyfriend of 4 years proposes to her. She doesn't like her boyfriend at all, but he's a very wealthy man. And so her mother was like, if you don't sign the marriage documents, then I will just sign them for you. And her mother has told her that the like amount of control she has over her daughter, she can gain more control because she knows people who will like make false psychological reports, making it seem like Sochiel like literally does not have the capacity to care for herself. So her mother has like literally threatened to take all of her freedom away. So our character is very much trapped in this life. Not a good situation. Her mom's a bitch. Do not like this woman at all. But one day her boss was like, oh, there's this guy in El Salvador and he's trying to get like a really big partnership or like a really big deal for us, and he's just having some trouble communicating with the people down there, and your last name is like Spanish, so you know Spanish, right? And our character's like, my mom hasn't really let me speak Spanish since I was like 10 years old because she like wants to leave that Spanish life behind. But he's like, yeah, no, you know Spanish because you look Spanish, and so I need you to go down there for a couple weeks and like help wrap up this deal. And she's like, well, okay. If it gets me away from my fiance, I guess at this point, and my mother, sure, I will go. And when she shows up down there, she's kind of like really confused because there was this weird situation where she gets picked up by this guy because she ordered a car to take her to the airport, and she recognizes him. She's like, oh, you know, we used to live in the same neighborhood back before my mom became a rich bitch. And he's like, yeah, and congratulations on your happily ever after. And she's like, thanks, I'll let I forget what his name is, her fiance, like Slade or something along those lines. She's like, yeah, I'll let him know. And he's like, who's that? And she's like, what do you mean? I thought you were congratulating me on my marriage and I'm not really sure what you're talking about. And then he leaves and she's like, okay, all right. And then she gets a call from the driver and is like, I'm here to pick you up. And she's like, who? But I just got picked up. What's going on here? This guy is congratulating me on my happily ever after, was not supposed to pick me up, doesn't know that I'm getting married. This is a weird situation. And so when she shows up, she's like there, she's in her little cabana, she's like, oh, life is so stressful. I hate my life. Once I come back from this trip, I'm taking control. I don't care what it takes. Like, I can't live like this anymore. And she's out on the beach and just like in the water, like letting it run over her feet. And then she like runs into this guy and he's like gorgeous, the Fabio of the beach of El Salvador. And she's like, oh my gosh, hi. And he's like, hey. And I cannot pronounce his name. To be totally honest, it is very close to Ezekiel, but it's definitely a little bit more complicated than that. And I tried to look it up and there was like no pronunciation guide on it. So it's just like, but he's like, most people call me Sal. And she has no memory of him. And we have a couple chapters by him and he's like, why does she not remember me? And the beast inside of him is all like, why does my mate not remember me? Like, she should totally recognize me by my scent and everything. Like, what's going on? And she definitely, like, as soon as she saw him, she's like, oh my God, this guy smells amazing. And I want to be close to him. But at the same time, like, she's such a good person. She's like, I am engaged. And so even though this other guy, like she doesn't care about him and he clearly doesn't care about her, she's like, I don't want to do anything with this guy until I break things off with this other guy. And Sal is just like spoiling her, and he like bought her a beautiful dress and everything, and you know, let her go on a shopping spree where she like bought a bunch of clothes, and she's like, I'd like to buy these, and they're like, oh, that's already paid for, like every girl's dream. And they like danced together, and after that she like texted her fiance and she's like, I can't marry you, like we're not gonna do that. And he's like, you can't just call it off. And she's like, I'm not marrying you. But I have a feeling that is gonna cause some trouble, because he's like, okay, I'm gonna cut your trip short and you need to come home. And she's like, no. No. So we will see how things go, because it's definitely, like, you can tell it is like a mates situation, so they are definitely like attracted to each other from the very beginning. But the fact that she seems to remember his cousin but not him, I'm kind of wondering if someone like is messing with her memory, because she keeps getting like twinges of like, this seems familiar, like flashes of memories, but like she can't like fully form those memories. And so I'm just wondering if someone messed with her mind or anything. Like, I don't know how magical this book is going to be or anything, but I am very addicted to this story so far. I'm very excited to continue it and see where we go with it, because I'm just having a grand old time, really. And I'm interested to see kind of like what happens with like all her family drama, because this guy is not about to let her family control her life, especially when what they want is for her not to be with him. He's like, nope. He was like, I have people stationed at the airport that if her crusty musty boyfriend shows up, they are kicking him out of this country. So he is very serious about winning her over and getting her to fall in love with him and all that. So he is definitely a swoon-worthy love interest, and I'm very excited. There hasn't really been too many smutty scenes so far. There was like a masturbation scene where like after she met him, she was like, what's a girl to do after meeting a man like that, which was relatively well written. So I'm definitely looking forward to those scenes. I have a feeling the author is going to do a good job of writing them, and overall I'm just interested to learn more about these kind of shadow wolf things that we're dealing with, and just having our character really find her freedom and find joy in her life and love and friends, because right now she ain't got none of that. So yes, those are my original thoughts on this book. I'm having a really great time. I'm looking forward to reading it. It is a Friday, so hopefully I can stay up. I do think my family is going to watch, I forgot the name of it. It's that new Christmas movie with Jack Black where the kid has like, doesn't know how to spell, so he accidentally writes a letter to Satan instead of Santa. So I think we're gonna watch that tonight. I also need to go to the gym because I didn't go yesterday because I was tired yesterday because I got like 3 hours of sleep. I will say I used my new pillows. Pretty happy with them. I do still feel a bit of soreness, but obviously that could just be like leftover from when I was sore before, so it might take like a few days for that to go away. I do also want to make like some changes to my office setup because my computer is a little bit low, so I constantly feel like I'm like typing like this all day, and I would like to raise it so that I can like look straight at it and I'm not constantly like this. So like buying a stand, but if I do that, because I don't have a keyboard, I would need to buy a keyboard for that. And I actually kind of want to buy one of those like one of those cute keyboards. So we will see, because my mom is always talking about remodeling this room because we just haven't really done that. So maybe that is something that we'll do in the year of 2025. So get this area a little bit more set up for me, as well as more of a guest bedroom situation with, I think she wants to get like one of those beds that like fold away almost into like a cabinet. or something. Anyway, but yes, that was just a random update about my pillow situation. I so far am quite happy with them, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that continues because I had a good night sleep last night. So I'll be going to the gym. I do also need to go ahead and shower tonight. Tomorrow I am meeting with a woman that I met at the Silent Book Club in November, and we're gonna go to Barnes & Noble and do some shopping. It is supposed to be primarily for me to buy gifts for friends and family for Christmas, but I will say there are a couple of books that if I happen to stumble across them, I might just pick them up, but we will see. I will try to show some self-restraint. But yes, that is my update. I am gonna go ahead and get back to work and continue my day. I am not doing my little Funko Pop because I'm wondering if I'll check in with you later today. If I don't for an update, I might just do it to show you guys my little Funko Pop, my fugly Funko Pop of the day, but also I just don't have it in this room with me and I'm too lazy to get up and get it right now. But that is all I got for you now, and I will check in with you later. Check it out, guys. My team has won the pumpkin carving contest. Since we telework, obviously, we didn't carve actual pumpkins. My contribution was that we should add a little bip tongue. So very happy with our little kitty pumpkin. And yes, I guess it did take them a very long time to vote on this because it is December 13th right now. And they have just now finally voted for them. But just wanted to share what my work team here put together, and that our kitty is very cute and his name is Candy Corn. Hello everyone, I am here in that new jacket that I bought from Target earlier this week. Ta-da! I think it looks great. So I just finished watching our movie, Letter to Santa, I think it was called, the one with Jack Black. It was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. If you are looking for a Christmas movie to watch, a little humorous Christmas movie, highly suggest, but I'm a Jack Black fan, so I had a good time with it. Glad we watched it. It is a little after 9:30, I believe, and I just wanted to go ahead and do a check-in with you, one, so we can look at our fugly Funko of the day, and second, because I have read quite a bit today since I last checked in with you. I'm just waking up my Kindle. I went to the gym today and was doing some reading while I was there, and I'm now on page 155, so 27% through this book, chugging along nicely. This book is definitely long, but I don't mind because I am still continuing to have a really good time with this book. It is just such an addictive read for me. Sometimes you just start a book and you just want to keep reading it. It just sucks you in, and I don't know what it is that causes that, but there is something on my camera that makes it look like I have a little dot on my forehead, and I don't, but it's bothering me. Okay, I know you guys couldn't see that, but I could see it, and now I like pressed it. Did it mess with the lighting because I'm pressing on the camera? I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. So essentially, I was saying I was just having a great time with this book. This is just one of those books that speaks to me. So essentially, our character is, I'm trying to think what the last thing I told you guys about was. I think I kind of let you know that they had just met and everything, and at this point she knows what he is. I can't remember exactly what they're called because there's a lot of Spanish words being used for what they are, and I didn't take Spanish in high school. I took German because I already knew German, and so it was an easy A for me. So I'm not quite sure exactly what they're called, but they did specify that they are different than werewolves. So with a werewolf, essentially, you know, your body like physically transforms into a wolf. With these beings, essentially, a long time ago, there were these gods, and one of them fell in love with a mortal woman, which the other gods were like, don't like that. And so they took this god and this woman and they banished them to the in-between so that these two could not interact with the mortal realm or the, what was it called, divine realm or something, essentially the afterlife. But despite these two just being all alone there, they had some kids, and these kids could, while not travel to the divine land, land of divinity or whatever, they could travel to the mortal realm. And while a lot of these children ended up being killed by the gods, a few of them survived, and their offspring or their ancestors, or not their ancestors, sorry, their, what is the word I'm thinking of? It's like the opposite of an ancestor because they come after you. Whatever. We're gonna say offspring. Essentially, they kept having them, and these were beings that would, it almost seems like they kind of bind themselves to humans, like they have some sort of connection between where they are in a way separate beings, the human and this half god creature from the other side, and then they kind of make a deal where they can be like one, and each of these gods, depending on which one you decide to bind yourself to, seems to have different strengths. And Sal, his is to be the leader. He is the leader of his clan, and his powers are very strength based, like physical strength. And for example, his cousin, who decided to take on like a priest like position, has the powers of healing, and he can actually commune with the gods on the other side. And his power, being relatively powerful, seems to be kind of like almost draining his life force, because she was talking about like when she compared his wolf-like figure to, say, Sal's, his looked very sickly, and at one point he kind of mentioned that he would prefer to like live at least another year, and he's only like a year or so older than Sal, and Sal is probably 33, 32, and so I'm just assuming that there is at least a bit of a toll that comes with having this connection, and specifically one as powerful as healing and communing with the gods like that. So I'm interested to learn more about the clan and their history. Definitely seems like an interesting take on the kind of werewolf adjacent lore. So I've been enjoying that aspect of the story. Sal is men. Men. Oh my gosh, especially when they're alpha like. There's a part of me, you know, and a part of her character that loves all the possessive and just out of pocket things that he is doing, but other times he goes a little bit too far, I think, and she thinks so too, because she is someone who has been controlled for most of her life by her mother. And now we have this possessive alpha-like character who's like, you're gonna be my mate, you're gonna get married, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. And she's like, no. I actually don't want to. Like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be with you. I know my body and like my heart seem to be drawn to you, but my mind is like, what the hell is going on? She's like, what is happening? She's like, you don't get to talk to me like that. And I don't want to be here. You can't tell me what to do. And he's like, yeah, actually, I can. And I was like, and you know, there's a part of me, because the way that she was trained by her mother, and almost the way that she trained herself to be able to survive being in the presence of her mother, was to lock all emotion and response away. So her response when he pisses her off is not to yell really, or to like fully stand up for herself. Sometimes she'll crack a little bit and yell at him, and he seems to respond positively towards that, but usually she'll just like and he'll be like, he is very concerned about who took the fight and the spark and the fire out of his sun goddess. And I think that's why he's doing all of this stuff that you may be like, that's super toxic and that's too far, because he is trying to like break through this ice dam that she has been using to protect herself from her mother, because he's like, that's not the kind of person that I want. And that's not the kind of person you are. Something happened to you since we were together 20 years ago or whatever, that made you this way. And I see a spark of it when I'm an asshole to you, and so I'm gonna be the biggest asshole you've ever seen. So it's definitely like frustrating to read, but at the same time I can understand why he's doing it, because he's just trying to get her to stop acting like this person who is just going to like let someone control them and, you know, be kind of like crappy to them and just like not respond at all. He's like, nah, I want you to yell at me. I want you to scream. I want you to hit me. He's like really trying to get a rise out of her. And you know, the more he does it, the more of a rise he is getting. But she right now has ended up at his compound where he lives, and she is already kind of trying to plan her escape. So good luck to her with that. We have heard some hints that her people back in the US are looking for her. It kind of seems like his people have been telling her people that she has food poisoning, but you know, it's been a few days and food poisoning eventually goes away. So we'll see what happens there. And there's some weird stuff going on. You know, I think I kind of mentioned where like she couldn't remember him, which, you know, there's a ton of things I don't remember from when I was 10 years old. But still, like, it really seems like the more he talks about it, like, it's like flashes of images. And she also talked a little bit about how she had been sick a lot as a child, and her mother took her to like a lot of doctor's appointments where they took a ton of blood and stuff. And the priest, who's also the doctor, is kind of like, that sounds really suspicious, and you don't have to like take any medication for that, and it's just like cured. And she's like, yeah, no, other than my ADHD, because she takes Adderall, I'm like totally fine now, and I just have to take my vitamins and everything. And he's drawn some blood from her, and I just feel like there's something weird going on, like that a part of her is being repressed. I feel like I kind of mentioned that I thought that, you know, that maybe someone was using some sort of magic. Not that there's really magic in this book, outside of like gods and stuff. But I don't know. I just get the feeling that, you know, the fact that she had this weird sickness where she felt like there was fire in her, and her mom was like having all this blood drawn with like bags and bags of it and all this weird stuff, and that she constantly feels like antsy, and like, yeah, that could be ADHD, but part of me is also like, there's something, I feel like there's something in her trying to break out, and maybe like the medication that her mom's giving her isn't like Adderall, but is like something that's repressing this magic, this something inside of her. So I'm really curious to see if that goes anywhere, because I'm just like, I've been kind of like suspicious of that for a while, because like nobody draws like 2 bags of blood every couple weeks. Like, no one needs to do that. So yes, interesting thing going on. I'm interested to see how our character's relationship develops. Right now, she very much sees him as just another person that has certain expectations of her that she can't meet. And what she doesn't realize is that his expectations are for her to be the person that she truly is. You know, he met her when she was 10 years old, before all of this traumatic stuff with her mother happened. And while he obviously acknowledges she's not going to be the same as a 10-year-old, he still wants this lively, creative, loving, happy, joyful, bold, and outspoken person. And that's not who she is anymore. She's someone who's very broken, someone who has just been confined and controlled, and maybe doesn't even truly know who she is because she hasn't had the opportunity to explore herself. So I'm looking forward to kind of watching her grow as a person, and hopefully as she turns into her true self and sees him love her as who she is meant to be, she'll start to realize like, oh, he has always loved me for me, and he didn't know what to do with this broken version of me, and was in his own wacky werewolf way trying to fix me, you know, and help me heal and everything. And sometimes, you know, he's not the best of it, but she has made a friend named Julie or Julia, and I like her, and Sochil really likes her. She's like, I would punch a moose for her. So, you know, it's nice that she's, you know, potentially for that first time really getting friends and getting family and getting community, and she's speaking more Spanish and maybe, you know, getting a little bit more in touch with like her roots and everything. So having a great time with the story. I've been chatting for a long time here, but you know, that's me, a blabbermouth. So now that I have updated, let's do our Fugly Funko of the day. Today is the 13th, Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th, everyone. All right, and it looks like the mayor, I think, but like, right? Doesn't that look like the mayor? But they didn't put like his 2 sides. They only put one side. So I wonder if we'll have like a second one of him with like his second face, because this is clearly the kind of happy, the two-faced politician character. So all right, so tomorrow, I'm not sure when I will check in. I'm meeting the woman that I met at the Silent Book Club last month for a trip to Barnes & Noble tomorrow at noon. She has a car appointment before then, something like that, a gas pump appointment, some sort of appointment that involves mechanical stuff. And I'm not sure if I'll do filming tomorrow. Probably, well, we'll see. I'll probably set my alarm for 9:30 as I usually do on the weekends, because I don't like to sleep in too much, because it makes me feel like the day has gone. And I feel like no matter how late I sleep in, I still go to bed at the same time, so it's not like I get extra time by staying up late. I just like lose time by sleeping more. So we'll see. I don't know if I'll have time to do a mid-month check-in video, because that's the one I would be filming beforehand, because afterwards my mom said that they are putting up the Christmas tree, so they'll probably want to go ahead and decorate that once I get home. So we'll see if I do filming tomorrow. But that being said, either way, I'll have a lot of stuff going on, so I probably won't do as much reading, which, surprise, surprise, Natalie doesn't read a lot on the weekends. Never seen that before. But yes, that is my update. I will check in with you at some point tomorrow. This vlog is wrapping up tomorrow, so tomorrow is the last day. Obviously, I will not be finishing this book because that would require me to read like 300 pages or something tomorrow. So this will obviously be carried into the next week, but all the same, I'm having a great time with the story, and I will talk to you guys later. Alright guys, so I just got back from my shopping trip. I went to Barnes & Noble with that new friend of mine, and then I went to Trader Joe's. I went to World Market. My parents wanted me to pick up something for them, and I ended up picking up some things for my friends to put in like little Christmas care packages to send off to them soonish. We'll see. Everywhere was crazy. I then went to TJ Maxx. That was my last stop, and everywhere bonkers bananas. Before I get started, here's everything I bought. Then I gotta clean up my bed because I left in such a hurry today. I couldn't even make my bed. I got cats on it. I got laundry on it. I still got like my pillows and the box for my new pillows in here. So I need to just like sit down and clean up this room. Then I'm gonna do my mid-month check-in. I haven't done any reading today. Surprise, surprise. I woke up, I got ready. I left. I am just now back at the house. It is almost 3 o'clock here. Let me put you down. At Barnes & Noble, I ended up buying some books for my family. I did not find the book I was looking for my dad. Y'all behave back there. He just wants to lay with you. So don't bite his pawsies. Anyway, so other than the book that I was looking for like my dad, I found everything. So let me start with the 2 books that I wanted to get for myself. And I'm honestly not thinking that this is going to be up before Christmas. And if it is, I don't think my parents will have time to watch it or anything, so I will go ahead and show you what I got them. The first one is gonna be The Nightmare Before Christmas, or Kissmas, sorry, by Sarah Rush. And this is obviously a queer kind of Christmas slash Halloween book, but I did hear from most people that it is more Christmassy than Halloweeny. I don't have time to read it this year, but hopefully next November or December I can get it on one of my TBRs. It's kind of like a romance between the Prince of Christmas and the Prince of Halloween. That's all I need to know about it. I've heard relatively good things about it, so hopefully having it on my shelf, I will be able to prioritize it next year. Then the other one is a new young adult release. The cover of it honestly is what got me, and I've heard pretty much only good things about it so far, and it's a more newer release, so it is a hardback, which I don't often get, but I saw this cover and I was like, you know what? I feel like I need to get the hardback because this is Don't Let the Forest In by CG, I know my letters, C.G. Drews, and this is another male romance, but look at this back. That is literally bonkers how beautiful that is. And this seems to be like a darker story. Let's see, it says high school senior Andrew Perrault finds refuge in the twisted fairy tales that he writes for the only person who can ground him to reality, Thomas Rye, the boy with perpetually ink-stained hands and hair like autumn leaves, and with his twin sister Dove inexplicably keeping him at a cold distance. Upon their return to Wickwood Academy, Andrew finds himself leaning on his friend more than ever. But something strange is going on with Thomas. His abusive parents have mysteriously vanished, and he arrives at school with blood on his sleeve. Thomas won't say a word about it and shuts down whenever Andrew tries to ask him questions. Stranger still, Thomas is haunted by something, and he seems to have lost interest in his artwork. Whimsically macabre. That's like one of those words where like I know how to say it, but I don't know how to say it. You know what I'm trying to say. Whimsically macabre. Now it's starting to piss me off that I don't know how to say it. I'm just going to skip it. Sketches of the monsters from Andrew's wicked stories. Desperate to figure out what's wrong with his friend, Andrew follows Thomas into the off-limits forest one night and catches him fighting a nightmarish monster. Thomas's drawings have come to life and are killing anyone close to him. To make sure no one else dies, the boys battle the monsters every night, but as their obsession with each other grows stronger, so do the monsters, and Andrew begins to fear that the only way to stop the creatures might be to destroy their creator. Tell me that doesn't sound good. So, very excited about that. Then let's take a look at what we got. I did renew my membership with them. I, for the first time, got a Barnes & Noble membership because it gives me free shipping, and I feel like one of the things that always attracted me to Amazon was the free shipping, because you like, I don't want to spend like $5-7 on shipping. That's like ridiculous. So I get that, plus I get the 10% off and all that jazz. And I got my book bag. I went with the dark blue. I don't remember which color I went with. I think I got black, but my mom's using it right now because they're nice sturdy bags, you know. They're good for groceries. I used them when I went to Trader Joe's for all my cartons of milk, because I usually binge buy milk, like 4 of them, because I don't go up there very often. So great bags. And then they also were giving out free little like annotating material, which I don't really annotate, but this is super cute. And then I ended up getting 2 books for my mom and then 1 book for my sister. I went in there knowing which book I wanted to get for my sister and not knowing which book I wanted to get for my mom, who is in her bedroom, I think, wrapping Christmas gifts right now, so hopefully she can't hear me. But for my sister, I went ahead and got Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, and I really felt like this was a book that she could kind of connect with. My sister lives in Seattle. She is a waitress, and for the most part, she seems to really enjoy her job. You know, it meets her needs. She can pay her rent. She can do what she wants. She can go to concerts and all that jazz. But because she works at a restaurant, a lot of people are like, oh, one day you'll find a real job or you'll get a real career. This is only temporary. And, you know, obviously sometimes that gets really hard to hear. And that seems to be kind of what's going on in this book, where we have this woman who's working at a convenience store in Japan. This character seems to be autistic. My sister is not, so that is a slight difference, but she is very comfortable with working at a convenience store. I think she's been working at it like 18 years, and a lot of people are telling her that she should not be satisfied with that she should reach for more, even though she has a job she's comfortable with. She knows how to do it and pays her bills, all that jazz. So I just felt like this would be a book that my sister enjoys. My sister doesn't read quite as much as me, but I feel like she's been getting a little bit more into it. She recently started a book club with her friends, so that's really fun, and hopefully all of them are just getting a little bit more into reading, and we love to see it. And then as far as my mom goes, I got 1 book that I'm familiar with, and that is The Sin Eater by Megan Campisi, fun name. And this is essentially about a girl who commits a crime, and her punishment is to become a sin eater. I believe she kind of needs to like hear the sins of people before they die. Yes, a shunned woman whose fate is to hear the final confessions of the dying, eat ritual foods symbolizing their sins, and thereby shoulder their transgressions to grant their souls access to heaven. So that sounds kind of interesting to me. I really hope she hasn't read this book before. She does kind of like historical stories, sometimes a little bit darker, a little gloomy, a little depressing. So I figured maybe this would be something that she enjoys. And the second one is a little bit more lighthearted, but it also is kind of historical and kind of set in the European area, which she seems to enjoy, being someone from Europe. She's German, and that is The Little Paris Bookshop by Nina George. I read the synopsis and it just sounded really cute. It says, Monsieur Perdue is a literary apothecary. From his floating bookstore in a barge on the Seine, he prescribes novels for the hardships of life, using his intuitive feel for the exact books readers are needing. Perdue mends broken hearts and souls. The only person he can't seem to heal is himself. He's still haunted by the heartbreak of his great love disappeared. Heartbreak after his great love disappeared. She left him with only a letter he has never opened. After Perdue is finally tempted to read the letter, he hauls anchor and departs on a mission to the south of France, hoping to make peace with his loss and discover the end of the story. He dispenses his books and his wisdom along the way, showing that the literary world can take the human soul on a journey to heal itself. So honestly, I could definitely see myself reading this as well. It's a little bit outside of my comfort zone, but it just sounds like it would be such a fun book where you meet a lot of interesting people, you do some traveling, you know, you got a little bit of lost love. So it sounds like a good time. I actually don't know if this is historical. I just assumed that it was. I'm just trying to see. Sometimes it might throw like a little date out there. Well, I do see that at the very least it's post Orwell's 1984 being published. So those are the books that I went ahead and purchased today. Very happy. So I think I am almost done with Christmas shopping. I still haven't shopped for my dad, so we gotta figure that out. But otherwise, I bought myself this, which is like a little headband that goes on while you're doing your makeup. The one I've had for years. And while it's still fine and dandy and everything, I figured I would go ahead and just pick up another one for funsies because the other one is relatively old. I also bought this like at-home manicure set because one of the reasons I kind of gave up on doing my manicures at home is because gel nail polish is so hard to get off. You can see like my nails are just like really grown out, like this whole little space here. And I'm hoping that one of these is tough enough to kind of like get the gel makeup off so that I can do my own makeup, because last year or the year before my parents gifted me the little light so that I could do gel nails at home, but I just didn't have all the tools to conveniently do it. So we'll see. This was from TJ Maxx. It was like $7, so I figured I would give it a try and hope it does what I need it to do. Other than that, pretty much everything else was a gift for friends. Other than these, I love little like wafer waffle kind of things with like some sort of little cream chocolatey thing in between them. This one is raspberry. I love raspberry filled things. This one is cappuccino, and while I don't like drinking coffee, I really like coffee flavored things, and this was from World Market. So I went ahead and snatched these up for myself. Is that a smart thing to do when we have a bunch of Christmas cookies in the house? No, but I was there and I saw them and I couldn't say no, especially because I haven't eaten like anything but a slice of banana bread today, and it's almost 3, and so I may or may not have been in there hungry. So yes. Anyway, that was a very long video of me not talking about what I'm reading because I haven't read anything today. So like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and clean the room as best as I can with these cats lounging on my messy bed, and then I will see about filming my mid-month wrap-up. So I will hopefully do some reading after that. We're probably not going to decorate the tree today. It's up, but apparently that little man, that little teeny man right there, jumped into the tree, and we have a fake tree. I think last year or the year before was our first time getting it because, you know, we're just getting too old. Or I should say my dad is just getting too old to cut down trees for us anymore. And me and my sister ain't getting married, so there's no young men around to do it. And I'm certainly not gonna do it. So we got a fake tree. It's a lot easier, but he jumped into it because this is his first year experiencing Christmas, and clearly he was very excited. And my mom says because the lights are already in it that he was like getting tangled in them. So we're gonna kind of like test the waters a little and see how bonkers bananas he goes before we put up any ornaments, because we have some very sentimental ornaments, some slightly more expensive ornaments, and we don't want him breaking them. We have definitely had tragedies in the past. Like, I must say, like, it must have happened 2-3 times throughout my life where just like the whole Christmas tree just like falls, and that can be very devastating. So that is not something we want happening again. So I have a pretty open day right now, and I'm hoping to get a good amount of reading because I missed my book and I want to get back to it. So you are surprised to hear that because you're like, well, if you miss it, stop talking and get to what you say you're gonna do. I'm going. All right, guys, wow, is my makeup like smeared or is that a shadow? I can't even tell. I was not crying. I was just rubbing my eyes a lot because I'm getting sleepy. It is past 9 o'clock. We just finished watching a Christmas movie called Red One, I believe it was called. It's the one with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I quite liked it. I feel like I haven't heard the best things about it, but it was a fun time. I think they were saying it was losing a lot of money at the movie theater. Would I see this in the movie theaters? No. But I barely ever see movies in the movie theater. We're not big movie people, especially movie theater people, I should say. But I would say that I would give it a solid, almost like a 4 out of 5 star. I mean, I honestly had like a fun time with it, but then again, I went into it with relatively low expectations because people were having not so great of a time with it, but I did. But I also got to watch it for free because I have Amazon Prime. So that being said, I have not done any reading today. Yes, that's very normal for the weekends for me. I don't know what it is, but I was cleaning my room, I filmed, I had to do some last minute Christmas shopping online for things that I couldn't find in store today. So on the bright side, I am pretty much all done with Christmas shopping. I just have to do the hard part of gathering everything together because I feel like I've hidden stuff around like my room and our guest bedroom, and I'm like, I don't know where everything is, to be honest. So look what it is. It's a little bean boy. He's like, what are you doing over here? I love you. Yep. All right. But yeah, so busy day, lots of stuff done. Hopefully tomorrow I can get some reading done, but also I really would like to finish editing my week 1 vlog, and I'm not really close to doing that. So that might be a couple 2 to 3 hours of work right there. And then we'll see if we end up decorating the Christmas tree or not. But, oh, this vlog is ending. Wow, I just remembered that. Hey guys, I'm here to wrap up this vlog because it's ending. And I don't have a book update for you at the end of this vlog because I haven't read anything. So yeah, okay. Let me just reshuffle my brain to get on track on what I'm doing here. So wrapping up this vlog, I would say that this week, it felt like it didn't go as well as week 1 because I only finished 1 book and then we started another book. So I am not really sure page count wise. It might have been about the same because last week 2 of the books that I read were really short. So, you know, it was really easy for me to go ahead and power through those. And one of them I had actually started a couple days before the month started, so that was a little bit of cheating there, but I would still say that I'm feeling optimistic about at least achieving the goal of 1 horizontal and 1 vertical bingo. So we're gonna keep chugging along with Obsidian Feather. We're stopping this vlog at 29%. Like I said, no new thoughts, live, laugh, loving while reading this book, or not reading this book, which is what I'm not doing today, because I'm not even sure if I'm gonna pick it up tonight, maybe for like 1 chapter, but I would like to get in about like 30 or so minutes of editing, so that is it. And so this is what the bingo board looks like, pretty similar to the way it was looking at the beginning of the week, but I have a feeling that in next week's vlog we will see a little bit more progress, maybe not, I'm not really sure. But yeah, no, I'm totally thrown off because I was not expecting to finish off this vlog. But before I do the final sign off, let's go ahead and pick our final Fugly Funko of the day real quick. We're gonna grab this if we can. Okay, so today is the 14th. Just grab that buddy there. I am really hot in the sweatshirt. I gotta take it off in just a sec. What? I already had this. Okay. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So it's him again. But this time his nose is orange instead of yellow. And I feel like his nose maybe changes color, but I would have thought it would have been orange because like he has like the little tiny pumpkin on the tip of his nose, and then red because he was pretending to be Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So I'm not really sure what the yellow represents, but either way, we got a second little ghosty man, which I'm not complaining about because he's definitely the cutest one. So hurrah to that. All right, guys, this is a very messy end to the vlog because I don't have any final thoughts on my books. I read a 3-star book this week, which was a little bit disappointing. Did I rate it 3 stars? I think so. I think that's what I decided to go with. That's what I said in my wrap up. That's what I put in my spreadsheet. If I didn't say that earlier, 3 stars is what I rated that. But on the bright side, I could honestly see Obsidian Feather being a 5-star read. So we are on a upward trajectory, and hopefully that continues into next week. And I hope you guys stick around to check out that next vlog. As always, guys, thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!